Well, I'd just like to say that I'm extremely excited to be back and getting the season started. Um, just leading up to where we're at right now, I thought that our kids and coaches did a great job of our Zoom meetings. Um, then, then when we're allowed to meet with them face to face, it's put us so far ahead of a season, which we needed that, bringing back the old defense. And so I'm really pleased where we're at going into camp.
Our first question is from David Ware.
Dale, good to see you again. Just wanted to kind of ask a similar question, one that I posed to Sean on more of a macro level. As the guys have come back, they spent the summer away from the program. At least personally, I know you guys were doing things virtually. How well have the things you were working on in spring camp carried over now that you're able to work with the team again? And has that been a pretty seamless transition that they've stayed with the schemes and the things you were discussing back in February?
I think the having the meetings, being able to have meetings, and being able just to see the kids and talk to them, and we've actually had more time talk ball than you do in a normal situation, and you can get more in depth with kids, and time limit when you have kids or you're in a 45-minute meeting. You don't get to tell the kids exactly everything you want them to know, such as why the secondary does this, why the D line does this. So it's been good, and in that part of it, I think our kids have a better understanding of our defense, and that part of it brought just having time, spending more time, and you can spend more time answering questions the kids have. So for us, as far as getting ready for a season, this has been by far the best start that we could have.
And in follow up to that, one of the deeper position groups on your side of the ball is actually your inside linebacker group. You've got a ton of veterans there, guys who've played a lot of meaningful snaps, and I know the competition's always pretty good between those guys. As you look at establishing a rotation with that many capable players, how do you go about on a daily basis really sorting through how the guys perform in practice and what that means relative to the way you set up your rotation?
Well, I think the number one thing for us defensively, we talked about this as a staff and talking to Coach Clark, is that we got to make sure that we're playing a ton of kids. And one reason, if someone gets sick, you got to have a guy step in. So our thought process is, or for mine, is that the older guys, we're gonna get them in there, and we're gonna get the reps as quick as we can, and we know what they can do. They played. Demarco and Trey have played for me. Basically, they played for me when they were freshmen, so they understand what I expect. Now that allows me to get the second group and third group ready, and I think for us, it's not we're not playing our offense, and we're trying to get ready to win a championship. So there's more to it. If we're just playing our offense, it'd be that'd be different, but we got to put our kids in every situation that we can think of possible that we're going to see through the year. So when it does happen, from unbalanced to the FSLs to the bunch sets, and getting those young guys ready, because you never know, somebody could get the COVID and they would be out, and you got to go to the next guy. So even if that wasn't the situation, my goal is always to play as many as we can, so our program will always be on a solid foundation.
Our next question is from David Rogers from the Blowing Rock News.
Yeah, Coach, you may recall that last year I went up to Louisville for your first game up there against Notre Dame and covered that. And before the game, I walked around a bunch of the tailgaters and asked them what their impressions were of the new coaching staff. And one of the octogenarians that I spoke with specifically mentioned you, and I guess you had come and spoken with to a Rotary Club or some kind of service organization. And he said, man, after that presentation, I'd run through walls for that guy. What is it that you bring to college football that you think, and talk a little bit about your decision to come back to App State, and how it's all been impacted by the COVID thing in terms of what you're bringing.
Well, I think that I think that just speaking of App State, it's my home. You don't spend 23 years and stay in one place and just be able to leave it. You know what I'm saying? It's family. So just getting the opportunity to get back here, there was no question. When Coach Clark asked me, I didn't ask him what it was going to pay me or anything. I was coming back, and so for that to be said, that's just because I love this place. It's home. I don't expect to leave ever again. What do I bring? I think I hope I bring passion to the game. The kids see that love the game. I hope they see what we stand for, family. The things that Coach Moore taught us, since the first year I was here, 24 years ago. I think those are the things that drive this program. And it started, it's so weird. I can remember when I first got here, there was something about, when I walked in this place, there was something about it. It didn't matter, the kids, you turn on the film, and they wasn't the best talented team, but man, they played so hard. And it's just I think hopefully that I'm able to give that same thing back to the kids, that they see me as what Coach Moore taught me, the importance of what it takes to be winners. And overall, it's great to be back.
Just one quick follow-up on a position. Talk about the development of Demetrius Taylor and what you have around him now.
Well, I think the most important thing is going to be his leadership this year. It's kind of funny. We talk about, I remember one of him as a freshman and just seeing him mature, learning. He was a great football player, but there was other things that he had to learn. And Coach Ivy every day was on him hard, but he knew what he's going to get out of him. And just to see a young man turn the corner, and just once he turned the corner and started up and never stopped, it's just amazing. There's no question he's the leader on defense, and we're gonna ride him as far as we can. He's got to be a great leader, which he is, and his play speaks for itself. And I think the kids feed off that, and I think that's going to be the key to our season. Just the leadership that he gives, and everybody trying to be as good as he is.
Our next is from Ethan Joyce of the Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey Dale, you mentioned talking about the inside linebacker group there to kind of start this all. I think it's interesting that when you leave App, Demarco Jackson is a guy who's still pretty young, shows a lot of really good flashes, but still learning, and you come back now and he's a guy that's kind of in the mix for some preseason conference teams and things like that. What's kind of been your review of just his development from the time you left to the time you've come back, and now you're coaching him again?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, him and Trey both. I think the biggest thing is they've gotten reps. they played in the games, they played in the big games, they played in all the games, and over time it just you gain confidence, and for those guys, once you get the confidence, once you've done it, it just seems like nobody can tear you down, or nobody, you can win every battle. And I think that's part of it. I think that's part of all the guys that's played a lot of ball for us. That's something that you just can't take away. Reps matter, and it's kind of funny. You watch. You always wonder, or you get worried about putting a young guy in, and then how he's going to react. You can be in practice, and you're just like, man, I don't know if he's ready or not. He makes those mistakes, and once he gets in and he starts playing, it's amazing how they can eliminate mistakes. And those guys have done it, and I go back to just having those opportunities, and they've been great in the process.
Thanks, Dale.
This might be the last one, unless anyone has one more. We've got David Ware.
Dale, we hit on the inside linebackers pretty hard. Staying with the middle of the defense, you're replacing starters at the nose, at both safeties. Now, you've got veterans in those spots, some guys who have gotten meaningful reps in reserve situations. They move into starters roles, but as you're thinking about the defense as a whole, up the middle, the nose and the safeties, how are you seeing those two position groups develop again relative to getting a rotation that you feel comfortable with?
Well, I think Coach Nunn has brought a lot to our defensive front. He has done an outstanding job with those guys, and what was really impressive is seeing guys that got redshirted the year before that did not get any reps come in the spring and be able to hold their own against an outstanding offensive line. Our offensive line is outstanding. So we see those guys being able to give us help. I think we'll be fine there. I mean, you got George, who has played a lot of reps and probably started a couple games at nose. I mean, he's outstanding. So I'm not worried about our guys up front. They've we can rotate. We can put people in our defense with the guys being the size they are. We can move anybody to nose, anybody to end, and that's the beauty of it. And we got some young guys. I can't wait to get the pads on, and that are the true freshmen. They signed some outstanding guys, and I'm looking forward to getting those guys in there. The one thing that we're going to do, and we're going to play a lot of guys early. One of the coaches asked me, "Well, Coach, how soon should I play a kid?" To me, you get him in the game as early as you can. Then if something happens, you can always change it. But if you get into a situation that gets tight, then you're less likely to get those guys reps. And so we're definitely going to play a lot of guys. As far as our safeties, Ryan Huff, and I mean there's a group back there doing a great job. And what's really good is seeing them going against great receivers, and our guys are as good as anybody you're going to see on the field. So we're excited. We're excited. We're young in places or inexperienced, but we were fortunate enough to get 11 practice in the spring, and then these meetings that we've had and these walkthroughs and things like that. It's exciting, and it's hats off to the guys that we brought in to help us coach. Those guys have done an outstanding job, and all of them are outstanding coaches. So we're pleased where we're at. I'm sure we'll have growing pains, but overall we're pleased we're starting day one.
All right. David, if you don't have a follow-up, I guess that's it for Coach. Coach Holmes, thank you for joining us. And
Thank you, guys.